Hi everyone, welcome to the third episode of my podcast, Marketing Me, a series created to help you build your personal brand for every scenario. I'm your host, Annette Yang, Director of Content for Marketing Society. After discussing a few more specific lenses of personal branding, today I want to discuss an exciting exercise that many of you are probably familiar with, the Myers-Briggs, also known as the 16 Personalities Test. Taking this test, you answer a series of questions that result in one of 16 personality types based on your introversion or extroversion, sensing or intuition, thinking or feeling, judging or perceiving. This test also gives you insight into your strengths and weaknesses, career paths that are suitable for your personality type, the way you can go about your relationships, and also your work habits, to name a few. These results can be helpful in that it helps you describe your personality in words, making it easier for you to build out and communicate your personal brand. Today, I'll be discussing my own personality type as well as that of my friend, Sandy Ita, who has a pretty opposite personality type to mine, and we will explain how we use the results of this test to better understand ourselves and our personal brand. From taking the Myers-Briggs test, my result was Advocate, or INFJA. This personality is described to be introverted and intuitive. Some areas where this personality type excels are being creative, ambitious, and passionate. In terms of handling stressful situations, this personality type tends to stay confident and relaxed. However, can often be a perfectionist and focus heavily on goals, which can potentially lead to burnout. I find that I discuss these areas very often in interviews. I talk about how I set many goals for myself, which showcases my work ethic and dedication. However, I sometimes can be too hard on myself when things don't go as planned. I adapt to these weak points by having a positive, flexible approach. This is an example of how I build out my personal brand through just a few characteristics of mine that are exemplified conveniently in my personality test results. Another way this personality type comes into play is in my relationships. The INFJA personality type is said to be introverted, yet passionate to uplift others and spread compassion. I keep my circle quite small, and I am definitely introverted. However, this allows me to build a small group of friends I really trust and I can devote a lot of my time and energy to if I wanted. I also support my friends tremendously and want to help them achieve their goals in any way I can. This has led me to have my unique impression on others and showcase my personal brand on the social scope. Now to move on to Sandy's personality type. She is an executive, or ESTJA, which is described to value honesty, giving advice, and bringing communities together. The ESTJ's personality types, strong will, reliability, and dedication, often take them into powerful positions in the professional world, such as presidents, lawyers, and other leadership roles. Sandy enjoys and excels in leadership positions and usually has strong opinions when working on projects. On the flip side, ESTJ's strong will can lead to stubbornness. They may get fixated on one plan or idea and dismiss exploring other options. Additionally, they can be identified as having difficulty expressing their emotions or empathizing with others. Sandy describes herself closely with these traits. For example, her friends often mention that she's great at giving advice. However, Sandy states how she struggles to empathize with others and tends to avoid sharing her emotions. That being said, Sandy tends to show her affection for her close friends and family by spending quality time with them and lending her advice. She found it interesting to see how she describes herself as well as how her friends describe her by taking this test. The way Sandy reflects her personality onto others is a showcase of her personal brand. When she steps into a work setting, she displays her dedication and straightforwardness, which allows her to successfully lead a team and complete tasks. In a social setting, she's a loyal individual who cares deeply about giving the best to her loved ones. These are all a reflection of her personal brand, depending on these different aspects of her life. You can also find out what personality type you have via 16personalities.com and explore the intricacies of your own personality. You can even share it with your friends and see if they agree with what traits it identifies you with. You will definitely find out something new about yourself, and I hope that you can apply it to your own personal branding during an interview, in a social setting, or in any situation. Personal branding is your story, so you can build it out in any way that makes sense to you. On that note, today is the final episode of Marketing Me as we close out the spring semester with Marketing Society. But I hope to see you soon in the fall as I have a lot of exciting new content planned for you. I'm your host, Annette Yang, and I'll see you all in the fall. Have a great summer, everyone.